All right, welcome to The Explainer. Today we're going to break down some really profound teachings on how to overcome what is, without a doubt, the single biggest obstacle you'll ever face: your own thoughts. We're going to go on a journey from ancient philosophy all the way to modern psychology to help unlock a totally new level of personal freedom. So, our journey starts right here with this piece of ancient wisdom that pretty much flips our modern obsession with huge overnight results completely upside down. This one idea, that great things are built step by step, it's really the key. It sets the stage for literally everything we're about to cover. So, here's the path we're going to walk today. We'll start with the wisdom of the Tao, then we'll get practical and look at living the four virtues. From there, we'll dive into how to identify these things called mind viruses, learn how to actually rewire our thoughts, and then, finally, we'll see how to tap into our body's hidden wisdom. Okay, let's dive right into this core philosophy. Most of us, we think strength means being forceful, aggressive, being the loudest person in the room. But the Dao de Jing, this ancient text by Lao Tzu, it presents this fascinating, kind of counterintuitive path. It argues that real strength, it actually comes from softness, from flexibility, and from humility. This slide really gets to the heart of a huge paradox. The world tells us, be hard like granite, be strong, unyielding. But the Tao, it just points to nature. It observes that over time, soft, flowing water always wears down hard granite. And that's such a powerful lesson, right? Flexibility and softness will, in the end, always triumph over being rigid. And here we go, another paradox that totally challenges a piece of advice we hear all the time. We're constantly told to think big, right? Focus on that massive goal way off in the distance. But the Tao suggests the complete opposite. To get great things done, you have to think small. It brings us right back to that journey of 1,000 miles. It's all about the single, manageable step you can take right here, right now. So the big takeaway here is that real influence doesn't come from scrambling to be on top. Think about it, the ocean is so powerful because it stays low. It doesn't have to go anywhere, all the rivers just naturally flow to it. In a world that just loves self-promotion, the Tao teaches that practicing this kind of radical humility is the path to a quieter and way more profound kind of strength. So how do we actually live this way? It all sounds great in theory, but what does it look like day to day? Well, the Tao gives us a really practical framework through 4 core virtues that honestly anyone can practice. So it all comes down to these 4 virtues. First up, reverence for all life, which is really just about dropping your judgment. Second, natural sincerity, which is just simple honesty with yourself and with other people. Third is gentleness, which is basically kindness in action. And finally, supportiveness. And this is a big one. It means actively shifting your focus from what can I get to how can I serve. And this idea of reverence for life, it's not just some passive thing, do no harm. It's about actively connecting with people. I love how Mother Teresa put it. It's about finding someone who feels utterly alone and convincing them, making them feel that they're not. Now that's reverence in action. The teaching here is that when you consciously live by these virtues, you start to align yourself with the natural flow of life. It's not about forcing things to happen. It's about becoming the kind of person who just naturally attracts guidance and support. It's like you're finally working with the current instead of constantly fighting against it. Okay, so if this path of virtue and humility is so powerful, what stops most of us from just doing it? Well, it turns out the biggest obstacle isn't something external. It's an enemy that lives right inside our own minds. The problem lies with what Richard Brody, one of the original guys behind Microsoft Word, calls memes. And no, he's not talking about the funny pictures with captions you see online. For him, a meme is a virus of the mind. It's an idea or a belief that's been programmed into us by our culture, one that we often just accept as absolute truth without ever questioning it. And yeah, just like a biological virus, these mind viruses have a really simple mission. First, they duplicate, repeating themselves over and over again in your head. Second, they infiltrate. They find any little opening, any moment of doubt to get in. And third, they spread, as you unconsciously pass these limiting beliefs onto your friends, your family, even your kids. Do any of these sound familiar? It's going to be too difficult. It's too risky. I can't afford it. I don't deserve it. These are the excuse memes we tell ourselves every single day. They are the programmed stories that draw the boundaries of what we think is possible. And here's the key insight. These aren't your original thoughts. They're viruses you caught from the world around you. Which brings us to this absolutely crucial point. And if you take away one thing, make it this. You have to learn to question the automatic thoughts that run your life. Just because a thought pops into your head does not make it true. So, the natural question is, how do we fight these viruses? How do we get rid of them? Well, the good news is there's a practical, systematic way to start dismantling them and taking back your mental freedom. Okay, the first step is super simple, but it is so powerful. The next time you catch yourself with a limiting thought, one of those excuse memes, just stop and ask yourself this one question. Can I be absolutely 100% certain that this is true? Let's try it with a common one. I can't afford it. Is that 100% true? I mean, have you ever had money show up unexpectedly or found a creative way to get something? The reality is, you can't be totally certain. So you have a choice. You can stick with the thought, I can't afford it, or you can try on a different thought, I can afford it. Now, neither one is a guaranteed fact, but just notice how one of them shuts down all action while the other opens up the door to possibility. Now, just imagine this for a second. What if you were simply incapable of thinking that limiting thought? What if the thought, it's too difficult, or I'm not good enough, just wasn't even an option in your brain? How would you feel? The answer, pretty much for everyone, is free. All right, let's take this one step further and see where these mind viruses can do some real damage. Our physical health. This is where cultural programming can have a profoundly negative and often invisible impact, especially in how our culture has taught us to view the female body. I mean, check this out. Dr. Christianne Northrup tells this pretty shocking story from her own medical training. She remembers her professor literally listing pregnancy as a disease. The idea that a totally natural process could be put in the same category as an illness, it just shows you how deep these negative cultural memes can run, even in our most scientific institutions. And this leads to this false separation that we're all taught to make in our heads. We ask things like, is this just me, or is it my hormones, as if they're two separate forces at war with each other. But here's the biological truth. Your mind and your body are one single interconnected system. Every single thought you have creates a chemical reaction that literally changes your hormones. They're not two different things. They are in a constant conversation. And this next part is just wow. It's a stunning example of how these mind viruses can literally flip reality on its head. In a lot of ancient traditions, a woman's menstrual cycle was honored as a time of deep inner wisdom. In fact, the original Aramaic word that gets translated as unclean in many old texts, it actually meant sacred. A powerful natural cycle was reframed by a mind virus into something to be hidden and ashamed of. So at the end of the day, everything we've talked about really comes down to this one profound choice, and it's a choice you have in every single moment. Are you going to be a host to a higher power, to infinite possibility, to the Tao? Or are you going to be a hostage to your ego, trapped by all those mind viruses of fear and limitation? The choice is always yours.